Cancer. That's a creepy topic. All cancers are non-specialized, meaning they never specialized. They never become anything functional, like skin or muscle. They also have an abnormal nucleus. The nucleus tends to be enlarged, and the chromosome number is off. Here's what I'm talking about. You may have extra copies, or entire sections of the chromosome are deleted. Now, normally, such a cell undergoes a programmed cell death, apoptosis. But a cancer cell does not undergo this programmed death. Hey, look at this diagram below. These are actual photographs. Far left, normal cervical cells. Look at the small nucleus. The center picture, those are precancerous cervical cells. And on the far right, cancerous cervical cells from the cervix of a woman. Look at those large nuclei. Moving on with characteristics of cancer. We tend to find cancers in areas with frequent cell divisions. So the lining of the gastrointestinal tract, the lungs, and anywhere else where the tissue is very active, there's lots of cell divisions, lots of opportunity for mutation. They also have an unlimited potential to replicate. And what I'm saying here is, look at a normal chromosome. Here's how it works. They are capped with telomeres. And each time the cell divides, that telomere gets shorter and shorter. And soon, there's not enough telomere left. And so we have the chromosome folds on itself, binds to the ends, and we have programmed cell death. That happens. Our cells only have so many divisions before the cell dies. A cancer cell, however, has a telomerase enzyme, and this preserves the telomeres, and so the chromosome is immortal. Basically, it just keeps dividing and dividing non-stop. Another characteristic is a process called carcinogenesis. Normal cells have what's called contact inhibition. When they contact a surface, they stop dividing rapidly. Cancer cells don't have this inhibition. They will form large masses, and we have a name for these masses called tumors. And if the tumor grows large enough, it starts to break apart in a process called metastasis. A tumor that has spread is called malignant, and it can spread just by growing and expanding in situ, or it may metastasize, which involves a spreading of the main core or neoplasm, and it spreads into the lymph system or the circulatory system. There's stages of this metastasis. Here's the first, initiation. Begins with a mutated gene that does not undergo programmed cell death. Next, we have promotion. The tumor develops, but it's still in situ. It still is in place. Progression, stage 3, is when we have a problem because it starts to produce these protease enzymes that allows it to invade underlying tissues. And we have a malignant tumor when that tumor has invaded the lymph, which is in green in this diagram, or the blood vessels, and then it spreads, and we have distant tumors now. We may have begun with, say, prostate cancer, and the distant tumors have moved into the bone or perhaps into the lungs. Angiogenesis. This refers to the formation of blood vessels. In the core of this tumor, oxygen levels are low. These cells are packed in there, and they need blood supply, and so they make their own. They release angiogenic growth factors into the surrounding tissues and create their own blood supply. Now that is impressive if it wasn't so creepy. Heredity is the #1 cause of cancer, and this can't be helped. We inherit copies of every gene from our parents. And some of these genes are beneficial. They're tumor suppressor genes that control runaway growth of cells. However, if we have mutation of tumor suppressor genes, then we have a problem, such as the mutation of BRCA that's linked to breast cancer. Radiation, often unavoidable, and often it's beneficial, such as X-rays. However, these ionizing radiation sources can restructure DNA and lead to cancer. Melanoma is avoidable in many cases by avoiding excessive sunlight exposure. Nearly 2% of total cancer deaths are due to this single form of skin cancer. Viruses. We know about the lysogenic types of viruses. They insert their DNA directly into our own chromosomes and rearrange our genetic structure. Example is hepatitis B, which is a major problem in China right now, is linked to liver cancer. And some viruses are just difficult to avoid. But we can avoid many of the mutagenic inhaled organic chemicals. One example, tobacco smoke contains several chemicals linked to cancer. And these chemicals don't only affect the lungs, but they affect the throat, the pancreas, the kidneys, the bladder, ovaries, the list goes on. And here is one form of cancer that we can totally avoid. So watch out for this one.